And welcome everyone to the much anticipated, not too long overdue, because it can't be long overdue because this is session 1 of our Vampire the Masquerade actual play entitled Out of the Darkness, run by myself and 4 super cool dudes who I've been talking with over the last 2 weeks. They're all very excited. I'm a little nervous, I'm going to be completely candid, but they're not, so they're going to carry me this entire game. I'm just going to sit here. They're going to basically tell the story. It's going to be great. No, I'm just kidding. But as is tradition in all of my games, we're just going to go around the table, have everyone quickly introduce themselves, tell us who they're going to be playing, give us just a brief little description, maybe a sentence or two about who that character is, and then we're going to have a quick session intro by myself, and we're going to dive right into our story. So without further ado, we're going to go Jamie, Stefan, Harry, Steve. Jamie, take it away.
Cool. My name's Jamie, and I'm playing Peter Obertus. He is a Silicy vampire, which is kind of shape changes, but that's not his big thing. His big thing is he's a blood-sucking landlord, and he owns that.
Figuratively and literally.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
in every sense.
Stefan, you're up, man.
Okay, my name is Stefan. I am going to be playing the caitiff Adam Bergford, a former handyman / artist for his sire Kyla, and after that financier for a club, and now going to look at a fragment of a lost tablet. And he is wary but sees his purpose in it. And that.
Love it. Harry.
So I'm Harry. I'll be playing Theodore Dashwood. He was an occultist in his first life, got elbow deep into the magical lore, and has been lucky enough to be blessed with vampirism to be able to continue his occult studies. So, he's just still doing that.
Still being a weird occultist. Love it.
Yep, still being a nerd.
Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve. I'll be playing Bertrand Manteldwart, commonly called Bertie. He's the youngest of the coterie at only 56 true age, and also only 29 in his previous life. He is he's a bit of a thinker, a background in research of maths and meteorological statistics, and he's the one to make connections with all these various trails of evidence, despite what everybody else can't see.
I like that. I like that. So a little bit of backstory for you all as well as those tuning in. We are in the city of Chicago. There is a tentative peace that has been established between Prince Henrik of the Ventru, leader of the Camarilla sect, and Tanisha Oliver of the Lombrosia, leader of the Sabbat sect. The peace rests on their mutual interest in the recent indiscriminate killings of Thinbloods by a relatively new vampire sect known as the Hakata. These necromancers of the death cult speak of something they are calling Cain's final gift, and it would seem that the key to this gift is locked away somewhere in the blood of the youngest vampires, the youngest kindred. Our group of vampires, the coterie, has been assigned, directed, commanded by the two powerful organizations, the two powerful sects, the Camarilla and the Sabbat, to look after a object of great importance, a small, maybe 3 to 4 inch piece of an old ancient Sanskrit tablet. It is just kind of like nasty looking. There's a little bit of dried blood on it, and it is written in an ancient vampire script, an ancient vampire language that even some of the oldest vampires in the city can't read. So no one really knows what it says, but it's just a small little corner of what was likely once a larger tablet. But our first scene opens up. We are over the huge open water of Lake Michigan. We are coming from the east. We're in a bird's eye view, and we are flying towards the city of Chicago. We see it illuminated in the distance, not dissimilar to my background. And there's this sort of yellowish, kind of off-colored, almost a sickly color in the sky. The sun has just begun to sort of set in the background, and it's darker than it should be simply because of a storm that has rolled in. It is rolling out and over the waters of Lake Michigan. As we get closer and closer to the city, we begin to hear a bit of bustle and hustle. We hear cars, we hear folks running along the streets, water splashing as their boots and shoes hit large puddles. And as we zoom in closer and closer, we actually go a little bit south of the heart of the city, a little bit south of the heart of the city, to a large and somewhat unassuming looking building. And as we pan down over to the building, we see there is a large park in front of it with big circular sidewalks that sort of do this big loop, and one little sidewalk coming off in each cardinal direction. And moving quickly through this sidewalk, the rain downpouring, we see what appears to be a young woman. She's wearing a hoodie. Hoodie is up. You see she has slightly dyed purple hair. It is completely drenched. In fact, a bit of the coloring, it was likely recently done, is starting to sort of, I guess, drip off. It's bleeding off of her hair, and you can see there's a slight stain that is sort of trickling down over her breast, chest, and down onto her pants. But she runs up to the door of this large building, and we see a name over the entrance, and it says Long Life Apartments. Long Life Apartments. She looks for a handle, she finds it, and she attempts to open it. There is a clattering sound. Rattle, 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 as the door is locked, and the entrance into this particular apartment complex is keyless. A recent security feature that was added on. We go in through that door, there's a little door, she peeks inside, we follow a camera in, and we go straight up through the heart, all the way to the top, the 14th floor, where we go into a small room. We see a number of, maybe a dozen or so CCTV cameras, little TVs with cameras, and we see a black and white image of this woman checking the door, knocking on it, and trying to look inside. Sitting on a chair is a strange and somewhat otherworldly looking creature. This creature is not really human, more beast. We see that they seem to be a person that was folded over themselves. Their hands are kind of backwards, and their head is where their crotch would be. But they sort of twist their head up, reach out, and tap a couple of keys on a little keyboard. And then we hear them call, looking back, sort of twisting in their crotch back, and we hear them call out to someone.
Master! Master! There is someone at the door. Not one of the tenants. Master Peter. Come! You must see.
Peter, you hear your ghoul, the one that you call Scribe, who is working the security cameras this evening. You hear him call out to you. You are doing what? You've just probably woken up. What would Peter be doing early in the evening. Morning for you, I should say.
Cool. So Peter wakes up. First thing he does is he checks his ledgers, just to make sure that he knows exactly what his tenants are, what the balance of his tenants are, so then he can go out and go through his day with that in his back pocket. So he's sitting in his office, papers in front of him. He's a papers man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all these laptops just come into fashion. Not a fan of it. But he knows that his ghoul, his scribe, will only bother him if it's important. And so he will kind of shuffle the papers round. Right. I'm coming. Let me have a look.
As you enter into the security room, your ghoul just ever so awkwardly sort of slides the chair, and there is this as one of the wheels is slightly off kilter, and it only catches the floor every maybe 3 inches or so, and he scooches to the side, still sitting. And as you move up, you see this woman that I described to you, and she is banging on the door, and then she looks up and she seems to notice the CCTV camera, the little camera that you are looking at, and there is this moment, Peter, where you see her, and you cannot quite describe why, but she seems very familiar. You feel like you've maybe seen her at some point, but then she quickly turns back, continues to bang on the door, somewhat frantically. Continue.
Yeah, I'm going to press the intercom button. I'm going to go, oi! You're scratching the paint. Who are you? What do you want?
I was told... my name is Chloe. Chloe Fairchild. I was told that you offer housing. Housing for discounted prices. I need a place to stay for the night. I just need a place to stay.
All right. I'll buzz you in. Come in. Don't move. I'll have someone come meet you.
And we see the ghoul reach up. His head turns and looks up to you, asking for permission. And he presses a button, and we hear a zzz as we pivot back down to that front entrance. We watch as the woman very quickly grabs the door, pulls it open, steps inside, and almost slams it, pulling the bar shut, and then somewhat obsessively, nervously, watches the rain coming down outside. And as we look through sort of her eyes out into the courtyard, which heads south away from the apartment building into that large kind of park with the big circular walkway, we think we see a couple of shadowy figures sort of moving in the rain. They look like maybe cloaked figures. And she watches where these sort of shadowy cloaked figures, we can just barely see their outlines from the rain coming down. And then they sort of slip back into the darkness away, and all we see is this steady downfall of rain. Steve, Mr. Bertie, you have also just awoken. But when you awoken this evening, as it were, you felt pulled to the lower floor. Couldn't explain it why. There's a lot of weird things that happen, and oftentimes, based on my understanding of Bertie, he just kind of follows it, right?
Yep.
However, what really pulled you down to the first floor this evening was that you're missing something. Something very important to you. A particular fountain pen that you placed it somewhere very important, Bertie. It has its place. It had its place. Someone moved it, and you looked all over the 14th floor, all over the 13th, technically 12th floor, all over it, because this is America. We don't have 13 floors. You looked all over that floor, and you cannot find it, and you went floor by floor by floor by floor by floor by floor by floor, and you're finally on the first floor. There is a small little sort of greeting office where you can, like, talk to somebody. Maybe sometimes a secretary works it during the day, and you're hoping maybe that fountain pen is in there. But as you go to walk forward, and get to that room, you see this woman I've described, this Chloe Fairchild. She sees you, and you all at once can sort of smell the air about her. It is a strange scent. You're used to smelling kindred. They kind of had this dead kind of bloody smell to them. You're used to smelling humans. Sometimes they smell delicious, especially the sleeping ones. But she smells different. She smells like a mixture of both, and it catches you off guard. And before you realize it, you've been staring at her for maybe 30 seconds. She calls out to you. What the fuck is your problem? Don't get any ideas. And she kind of pulls her hoodie a little bit tighter and turns away from you.
He's gonna pull out like a tiny little flip notebook and a pencil, and like dab the pencil on the end of his tongue, like people do for some reason. I don't know why.
Makes it right better.
Work. Pencils work regardless. And he'll walk forward to kind of pulls the notebook out, gets the pencil, and then like walks forward almost frantically. Have you seen a pen?
A pen? A pen?
Yes.
No.
Fountain pen.
I don't. What do you? A pen?
He'll like walk around her in a circle, like kind of looking at up and down.
She is soaked to the bone, hair drenched, clothing drenched. As you circle around her, Bertie, she shifts from one side to the other, one foot to the other, and there's a sloshing sound. You can tell that her shoes are probably still filled with water, and she's just dripping, and there's a puddle of water that is collecting around her. And actually, you step into it a few times. There's just so much water, but you don't see a fountain pen, Bertie.
He'll look outside the door and see the rain, and then go, "You're wet."
Very observant of you. Are you the man I was supposed to speak with? The owner of this place? Hello?
Maybe.
Okay.
Have
well,
you seen my pen?
I don't know. I don't have a pen. I'm sorry. I didn't bring one with. Why do you need a pen?
I don't need the pen. I have a pencil. I need my pen.
The most confused look on this woman's face. She just stares at you for a few moments. Bertie, as you're staring at her, there is a car that drives along the road that is sort of kitty corner to the entrance. The light hits one of the signs out front and kind of shines in. And as it does so, it just ever so slightly illuminates the office. And resting on a manila folder, you see your pen. You see your pen. The real mystery is, who the fuck put it there? The real mystery, Bertie. That's the real mystery. We're going to pivot away from this scene. I'd like to know, Theo, Mr. Theodore, where would you be early in the evening? Just maybe woken up. What would you be up to?
Vampire morning. So in Vampire Morning, I suppose I'll be getting straight to it. During the day, some members of my cult will have brought me some new texts to pore over. Having just moved into the Long Life apartments, I'll have asked for just everything they can find about this building, when it was built, who's owned it, who's lived here, everything. So I'll just be getting out of my coffin. What do I sleep in? Do I sleep in a bed?
Great question. You tell me.
I'm gonna sleep in a bed. I enjoy the trappings of my previous life. It's a
Blackout
very comfortable
curtains.
bed.
I like that. That's good.
Stretch my arms, stretch my legs. Not time to get dressed yet. Gonna do some reading first. So I'll go to the little desk I've been assigned and just start poring over the documents about the Long Life Hotel.
So what's interesting about the Long Life Hotel that your followers brought to you is the Long Life Hotel, prior to Peter owning it, the records for the hotel, they tell you, were lost in a fire. And this was a little bit prior to everything being uploaded, as it were, saved digitally. So you're missing some records on the apartment. And your cult followers were incredibly apologetic about not being able to. They said they searched everywhere. They tried to like beat some people up to get information, but no one really knows. No one really knows who owned it prior to Peter doing it. And the fire, the whole thing around the fire when Peter took over, big mystery. No one really knows. It was said to be maybe like a gas fire or something. There was a small explosion. A couple people died. It's actually pretty terrible. Or wonderful, depending on your perspective.
Pretty handy for Peter, I imagine.
Hey, no one said anything about that. All right? Big mystery.
He's used to coming across dead ends. Like, they happen all the time in research. Things catch fire a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially important things is one thing he's found out as a researcher.
The only thing they bring you, though, Theodore, that is of any interest, is that apparently there was someone who died in this apartment complex about 15 years ago, and no one found them for about 2 years, until someone complained about the smell. The only interesting thing they found. Do with that information as you see fit. But as you are... Go ahead, please.
As if Theodore would be thinking to himself, you certainly wouldn't have that on Peter's watch. As soon as they're a week late on rent, he'll be in there.
Interesting, right? With that being said, you were butt naked, as you said, because you said you didn't get dressed. And you hear a conversation between Peter and his weird abomination ghoul. Would you interject? Would you go and find out what's going on? Or would you simply let him take care of it? That is my question to you, Theodore. There's no wrong answer.
No, there's just a person. I was just trying to get into well, not my shoes. I'm not wearing any. Get into my skin.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, no, he wouldn't care. He's got important bits of paper to read, so he's had a quick first perusal. Now it's time to get some clothes on.
I love
so you'll
that.
go and get dressed, knowing that there's someone there, but like
Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
Just some person.
Down the hall from Theodore's little cubby, as it were, as I'm assuming Peter wouldn't give him the nicest apartment. One of the nice, like the halfway nice one. You know, comfortable, but not great. We have another room, and Adam, I'd like you to take a moment and describe, you've been living in the Long Life Apartments for a month, maybe 2. What does your apartment look like? The room that you've been assigned by Peter, the owner and proprietor of this establishment. What does your room look like? How do you have it decorated?
There is a bed, a chair, a table. The bathroom itself is fairly clean, you know. There may be a table which had some sort of place to put his suitcase on, which actually has all of his former earthly belongings. Otherwise, it is surprisingly barren, with the exception of the extremely dim light in the room. It almost looks like some insane person lives there.
Okay. And what would Adam be doing early in the morning?
Early in the morning, he would do a lot of the stuff that he did. He was first just comb his hair, think about his next objective for the day, and just smoke a cigar after the whole process, and probably get dressed and go out into the hallway after, because apparently there is someone that piqued Peter's interest.
You overheard it. You would have overheard it. You know, his ghoul was not quiet when he called out for his
Master, there is someone.
And he's just not a very quiet person. That's why the walls are padded, you know, because he's very loud, but neither here nor there. Go ahead, please.
No. I was just gonna say, if the ghoul thought it was important enough to tell Peter, then also Adam wants to know.
You, as you were getting up, you were preparing for the day, you see on your Nokia phone, because it's the early 2000s, so you have a Nokia cell phone, absolutely. Yeah. You see that there are 2 new messages 2 new messages for you. Do you check them or do you ignore it until later?
I checked them. I checked them both.
Very good. The first message is from Andrea, I guess you could say a contact of yours. And it simply says, have you forgotten about me? That's all it says. Just, have you forgotten about me? There's a question mark. Second message is from a unknown number. It is blocked, as it were. It's one of those things where they can text you and you don't know what the number is kind of thing, right?
Okay, yeah.
And it simply says, we're going to find you.
He just sighs at looking at it. At the moment, he cannot really respond to any of them. He does not feel in the right mindset.
Mhm.
He hasn't made his full plan for the day, so he just looks at it and just closes back his phone. He actually, no, he checks if Gustav left him any messages.
Nothing from Gustav.
Hmm. I sigh, close my phone, and probably get out of the room at that point.
Perfect. Jamie, we're going to pivot back over to Peter and his ghoul. This is a few
Just
moments.
before we do,
Please, Theo.
I'd love to just note on the fact that you're closing your phone with it being an early
Yeah, it's a
phone.
Nokia. It
It's
would be
okay.
closed.
I was just going to pivot away
It's
from it
nice.
because it's like technically Nokias don't close. It's just a little brick.
Yeah.
But
He's got a Motorola.
he
I just
closed
got
it
this
into
Motorola.
his suitcase. That's canon.
Yes.
He closed
Yes,
it, so
that
he's
is
like, "Oh, I'm gonna
canon.
put that back in my suitcase." He closed
Yeah,
it in
and
his
then
suitcase.
It is it.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
That's hilarious. 2006. What a time to be alive. All right, so we pivot back over to Peter. You've just mentioned to this girl, you opened the door for her to come in. You said you'd send someone down. How do you proceed? Here, please.
I'm going to stomp back out. Peter is not a quiet man. He's going to stomp out, poke his head out into the corridor, see Adam kind of just leaving his room. He's going to go, "Wait, Adam, there's someone
Yes.
downstairs. If you could go meet him, say hi, be nice, show him up to my office, would you?"
All right, Mr. Peter. I'll probably do that immediately, I guess. And then I just go down. I don't argue with him. I don't have the energy right now.
Beautiful. So you start to head down the stairs or the elevator. How do you get downstairs?
I wouldn't trust the elevator. I haven't had a guy in to service it for years.
Oh,
You taking the stairs, Adam? What are you taking?
I think I'd take the lift.
lift?
I don't feel like walking right now.
Brilliant. As you get to the lift, you push the button. It illuminates for a second, flickers. You wait. You click it again. It flickers. You wait. And then it dings. But when it opens, the lift is only halfway into place. So you're kind of looking down into the lift. You can see the cabling coming down right there.
Jesus. I really need to work out Mr. Peter's finances to afford a better lift. As I see this, I just go on the stairs. I don't.
As you turn away, you hear some grinding, and the lift lifts up so that it's right properly in place.
Mr.
Take the
Peter,
stairs.
Mr. Peter, I'm going to strangle you one day. And then I take back the lift.
Yes! So as you get in the lift, you start going down. It's like 14, 12, 11, 11. Kind of jostles a little bit. 10. And then it drops, probably like 2 floors, you feel like. And you have to grip on. The lights inside of it flicker. As the lights flicker inside, they go dark, then they go bright. And there's like those mirrors in the lift where you can like, it's like there's mirrors around on the inner walls. As you are looking into the mirror behind you, you could swear for half a second you see someone standing behind you. you see what appears to be, and this is just a half a second, light flickers off, goes on, flickers off, then comes back on again. And in that half a second where it flickered off then on, you see what appears to be a woman completely drenched in blood, black hair, bloody chunks and bits, staring directly at you. You blink, then the lift goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down, no issues whatsoever.
How big was the silhouette?
It was normal size, just like you, about your height. And she was standing just off to the right, completely covered in blood, wearing what appeared to be, who knows what color the robes were. She was completely clothed, completely drenched in blood, bits of viscera and gore all over her face, black hair drenched down, fangs, she looked like a vampire, just staring at you.
I used to be hope she is a vampire, because otherwise she's fucking weird.
Yeah, that would be pretty weird.
A little weird.
It was robes she was wearing.
Robes, yeah.
Yeah.
As after he reaches the first floor, he sort of starts to rearrange some of his clothes back, and
you also notice, Adam, you're feeling
Yes?
very hungry right now. Right? Very, 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 very hungry. It's been a while since you fed. Been a while. Just gonna say that. Throwing it out there.
a little more,
Yeah.
a little more, and he says that as he's straightened his pure black suit, and he again puts his blank expression and exits the elevator.
So did he look startled when he saw the woman? That's my question.
His eyes went a little bit.
He did. He showed
But,
some emotion. Okay.
But his face was still overall.
Okay. But there was a reaction. I like that.
It
So
was.
you're going to step out, Adam. You're going to see Bertie circling this woman. But we're going to pivot away. We're going to leave that scene for just a moment. We're going to go back upstairs. Theodore, you've managed to get dressed. You've looked at your paperwork. Dead ends, as is tradition. But you've stepped out. You heard Peter order, suggest, command. We're not sure what to call it. Request that Adam go check on this woman. But you've managed to step out of the hall where you see Peter standing there, having watched Adam just leave. What do you say, if anything?
Sorry, so I've come out just as just as Adam's left. Peter's still in there.
Correct, yes.
Cool. Yes, it's best to let the little people know their place. He'll say as he adjusts his little ceremonial ring on his hand.
Yeah. There's a new tenant coming in, or his prospective tenant coming. Have a chat with me.
Right. I don't see that this concerns me.
Probably not. Probably not one for the cult.
Feel a
No,
slight
very,
tug.
very unusual.
Slight tug on your jacket, Peter. It's your ghoul.
Master, shall I prepare?
Yeah. Just in case.
Good, good.
And you can see him like weirdly like walk. It's a weird looking guy. He's like folded over on himself. It's a whole thing, and he just like rambles and stumbles and like awkwardly wobbles down the hallway towards your office.
What? Go call Alina. See what she can do with it.
Yes, of course.
And just scurries off. Grabs a Nokia cell phone, unfolds it. No, I'm just kidding. Grabs a Nokia cell phone.
Oh my God, that's gonna be a thing now.
Oh, yes, it is. It absolutely is. Let me unfold my brick phone.
I brought this on myself.
It's good.
It is what it is.
But Theo, please continue. Forgive me.
So you probably want to make sure that he's out of the way, at the very least.
Yeah, don't worry. He knows when to stay quiet.
That's good. That's good.
Talking about that, you've been trying to get some documents of my of provenance of this building.
I find it's always best to know as much as possible, well, about anything really, but especially about a new haven.
Yeah.
Didn't turn up much. You've been operating it as well as the piece of shit that it is since you've moved in. I can see that quite clearly.
Proudly.
No qualms with me, sir. But yes, there's only one thing I really found. Well, two, I suppose. I presume you heard about the terrible fire shortly before you purchased this place.
Oh yeah, horrible situation.
Yes. It's been
What's happened to them?
quite difficult to do any research with the building having been so horribly burned previously.
Yeah, terrible, terrible. You know, all this post-war construction, all that just goes up.
I was thinking to myself earlier, because there's only one thing I could find out about this place before you bought it, was that there was a man who didn't pay any rent for 2 years. Can you imagine that? 2 years. And in the end he was dead, he'd rotted or molded or something. But 2 years with no rent, insane. How were they running this place previously?
Disgraceful.
Do we have any
Disgraceful.
sort of vampire equivalent of coffee? I can't drink coffee, can I?
Black blood, I guess. I don't know.
Just everything's blood, just all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
Caffeine
for smoking.
infused blood.
Ooh.
Oh,
We can
There's a
make stuff
market
up
for
as
you.
we see fit. It's a role playing game.
yeah.
Gonna stop us.
Also, that Nokia is amazing.
Yeah. The
Tell you
the
what.
folding brick phone. It's pretty great. Actually, they
the
did. The
M90.
original brick phone had a little flip thing, so maybe it's a brick phone. I'm just saying.
It's Nokia N90.
Yeah.
They're the Nokia flip phone from 2005.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna get
remember.
myself
I had
a cup of coffee.
2006. I had a Motorola Razr, which is a flip phone.
Nice.
I also had like flip phone. I don't remember what it was though.
I like it.
I had.
How was your Vampire the Masquerade session? Good. We got really into the weeds about Nokia phones for like 30 minutes. But it's a whole thing. We had fun though. That's all that matters.
Yeah. The Nokia
Oh.
phone.
Very
Well,
good.
Theodore is gonna go and get himself a coffee just to smell. It's just like his bed. He doesn't need it, but he likes those little trappings.
Like that.
So I'll let Peter know. I suppose I'm on my way out. Going to get I believe they call them a macchiato these days. Can I get you anything?
I'll have a small espresso, just to smell. You know how it
Yes.
is.
Of course. one wouldn't drink them. Yeah, and I'll be on my way. I'll take the stairs. I've seen absolute state of the repairs in this building. There's not a chance I'm getting in the lift. Not even with my vampiric invulnerability.
As you leave and depart from Peter, Theodore, you pass the lift. You don't press the button. You don't even look at it. But it dings, slides open for a second, then goes bam, 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 and then closes again.
Oh, this apartment.
Jesus Christ, this building. Oh, does that burn me? Can I say Jesus Christ?
I don't know. Can you?
Is it a pain?
No, I can't. My tongue hurts.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
God damn it. Old habits, they die so hard. And he'll continue
That's
down
your
the stairs.
folkloric pain.
That is hilarious, and I love that. That's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
you see Peter kind of stride out of his room as he does this and just like slam the panel. Stop it. And then just walks back.
You hear the door. It kind of like goes to open again, and then like slowly closes, and then you hear the elevator slowly go down.
Okay, now.
Ding.
Can't get technology these days, can you? He says to no one in particular.
Back down in the hallway on the first floor entrance, Bertie, you've just noticed your pen, and walking out of the elevator, slightly wide-eyed expression for just a moment, but then quickly puts on his ever classic and stoic serious face. You see Adam, a vampire whom you've been cohabitating with in this coterie for a couple of months now. It's really not been that long. And Adam has been, well, you tell us, Adam, you've been pretty quiet, reserved. What have you been like, Adam, over the last couple of months?
I have been a bit reserved, mostly talking when he was asked. The only real interest that he has had was not really about the other people. He has already a lot of troubles on his head. It was about the fragment of the tablet.
Mhm.
That is his main laser focus. think, oh god, now I'm dying. The
I like that.
lasers.
What about Bertie? You see Adam across from you. See Bertie, who's been circling. His gaze seems to be looking into this office where there is something that has attracted his attention. There's this woman standing next to him, purple hair. You can see the color bleeding out of it. And what has Bertie been like with regards to Adam? What are you like, Bertie? What would Adam notice about you?
He'll be scribbling little notes down in his tiny little notebook, and constantly flitting between looking at this girl, looking at the office at his pen, back to the girl, kind of shifting a couple of inches towards the pen and then back a bit, about to go and speak, but then not, then looking at the pen again. Like just pure indecisiveness.
Do you see Adam? You see Adam that Bertie seems to be frozen through indecision. The girl is standing in a puddle. She is shivering ever so slightly as this is going on. What do you do?
I approach and say, "Good morning, Mr. Birdie. Have you lost something again?"
He's now got 3 things to keep looking at, so he'll keep looking at each 3 of them. No, I've actually found it.
Who is I'm assuming that the miss is the person that Mr. Peter was talking about.
I'm looking for lodgings, residence, somewhere to stay. I don't have a lot of money, but
What is your name, miss?
my name is Chloe. Chloe Fairchild.
Okay, Miss Chloe.
Yeah.
I have been told to bring you to the owner of this apartment's office. His name is Mr. Peter Albertus. Do you happen to know him by any chance?
Only by reputation. I was referred here by a friend who said that he can take payments in other ways. I don't have a lot of money.
Do I notice that she's different, to say the least?
So, as I described in the first scene with
Yes.
Bertie and her, you also smell this. So, vampires kind of have this dead kind of smell to them, like almost a little bit of rot, but not overpowering. Like humans wouldn't notice it. Maybe dogs would, maybe animals would. Like they bark and get mad at you occasionally,
Yeah.
depending. But then there's also this sort of irony smell to them as well. Humans smell sweet, they smell intoxicating, they smell like a good meal kind of thing, right? She is a mixture of both, which is odd.
Okay.
You've never quite smelled something like this. You are both maybe feeling a little hungry, but also feeling a little off-put. It's a sensation you've never quite experienced before.
Is she like sitting at a table? Like
Nope.
she
She's
just
just
sits
standing in the hallway. Birdie has kind of
the
been
hallway.
circling her. There's a puddle of water at her feet.
I sort of slightly approach her and kind of observe her top to bottom for a second, and then, you're an interesting sight to say the least.
Once again, she kind of like wraps her arms, pulling her zip up hoodie a little bit tighter, like up, and you can see she kind of pulls her hood down a little bit as well, almost
Miss Chloe,
instinctually trying to like protect herself.
Miss Chloe, uh, just because the payment is here, there are a lot of people like you. We are all here for our own reasons. There's no reason to even be defensive. You will have to
Bertie will
adapt.
pipe in. Bertie will pipe in just after he said defensive and say, "Turbed," and then walk off towards the office.
What did he say? What was that?
Perturbed.
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 Ooh.
Hmm. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you maybe it is a bit of personal. You are not obligated to answer, but
If it's all the same to you, would you just take me to the owner?
I guess my curiosity is out to wait. Let's go meet up Mr. Grumpy Peter, I suppose.
That
Also, do not take the lift. It's broken. I have been trying to offer an alternative for months, and he doesn't talk about it.
she looks a little confused, and you can see that she almost wants to say something like maybe, but you just walked out of it, but just doesn't say anything and just follows you towards a stairwell.
Yep.
We're gonna stay with Birdie for a second. Birdie, you have a set of keys that opens up. You've got keys. You seem like a key guy, Birdie. That's what I'm gonna say. You've got keys. You've got a set of keys that Peter gave to you or lent to you, or maybe you took. I don't know. But you go through them. Not that one. Not that one. Not that. This one. You open up the little office. Go in. You go to look for your pen. You know you saw it, but it is no longer on that manila folder. It is no longer on that manila folder. Not there. What do you do?
He will close the door and then lock it again, and then retrace his steps literally a walk backwards to where Chloe was stood, and then go back around exactly where Chloe was stood, walking backwards and literally retrace his steps. And then pull out his notebook again and kind of go back through. He's probably filled in like 2 or 3 little pages of just notes of writing everything down, like Chloe, wet, raining, and flick back through them until he finds pen, manila notebook. And then we'll go back through and walk the route again until he sees where, or gets to where he saw the pen.
Yeah.
And then instead of going to the door, he will then like peer into the window where he saw the pen on the manila notebook.
Yeah, instead of the pen, you see a cat. You see a cat sitting on the manila folder. It is a white, floofy cat. Like imagine like the ones that are like just really big and like fluffy. Almost looks like a Norwegian mountain cat kind of thing, with like the big fur, but it's just completely white. And it's got kind of a not a hugely pointed face, but slightly pointed face, and it's looking at you. It's just staring at you from that manila folder. Now imagine that there's this window, but there's like the window there, but then there's like a little opening to where it's like an animal, or you can like exchange money, etc. Like it's like if you go to I don't know the DMV, or I don't know what you guys have in England, but the car place where you get your license. But I digress. So you can see that, and there's a little bit of white fur. So likely the cat found its way in there, and you recognize this cat. You know whose cat this is. This is Mrs. Tibbs' cat. And a voice, a sort of soft, almost cooing voice, emanates from somewhere in the room. You think it's the cat, but you're never quite sure. And the cat asks you, Bertie, missing something? Its tail flicks back and forth. You can actually hear a thud, thud, thud as the tail hits the desk.
The look on his face is he's smiling, and he wants to go and talk to the cat and find out where his pen is, but also he hates white animals. So he's going to stand perfectly still where he is and like try and write things in his notebook, but without looking at what he's writing, and hoping that the cat who's staring at him won't see that he's writing in his notebook. I am going to give you a point of my willpower though, and try and approach the window, because I have a folkloric block of white animals.
Yeah. All right.
As he walks slowly towards the window, do I have to roll for the willpower?
Jamie, does he roll for it? No. You just give the
just
willpower,
spend
and then you can do the thing. That's right. But you have a limited amount of willpower, correct? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you spend it as superficial damage.
So it hurts you to do
The
this, but you
single, the
approach.
single slash, not the full block. Okay.
Yeah.
As he's walking slowly towards it, like really slowly, taking half paces towards it, he was saying, "What did you do with my pen?"
As soon as you ask the question, the cat jumps up onto the counter, starts to maneuver its way through the little slit. Simultaneously, your Nokia brick phone flip version goes and it keeps ringing once, twice, 3 times. Do you answer it on any of those rings?
No, he wants his pen.
Good, good. Cat kind of flans itself, gets through, and does that thing cats do where they sit in front of something that you want or you're looking at and just stares at you, maybe 6 inches from your face. And then it just turns, hops onto the floor, kind of hits the little bit of the water and does that thing cats do when they step in things they don't want to and they're like, ah, crap, I hate it. And then skitters off down the hallway, rounds a corner and disappears.
Is the pen on the manila folder?
The pen is on the manila fold.
Can I reach the pen from under the thing where the cat was?
You know what? Sure.
I
Punch a
will.
hole through it. You're a vampire. You can do it.
No, I don't want to break everything.
I'm just kidding. You can reach in, kind of grab onto it. It's right there. Yeah,
You break it, you pay for it.
it's true. Peter rule.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Does anything else look out of place?
Nothing. Phone rings again.
Can I tell if the cat was just sitting on the pen?
The pen, you're obsessive compulsive. The pen is in a slightly different spot than it was. It kind of looks like the cat picked the pen up and put it back on the manila folder. That's what you can presume.
Take the pen, follow the cat.
Love that journey for you. Your phone dings again. This time it's a text message. So you go ding ding. Ding ding. You get 2 text messages. Do you check your phone?
No, following the cat.
Love that journey for you. All right, perfect. So we're going to go upstairs where Adam and the young Chloe have just arrived on the 14th floor. Peter, she is escorted to your office. And I'd like to take a moment, Peter. What does your office look like? What is the decoration? What is the feel of it? What does it smell like? Give us a few moments to describe that office as she enters in with Adam guiding her into the office.
So in
I just need to quickly go hug some kids goodnight. I'll be back
Oh, you're
in
good,
like
Theo. Take
1
your
minute.
time, man.
Yeah.
You're good, man.
Cheers.
So in stark contrast to the rest of this apartment block, which looks like it burnt down in the 40s and was never quite rebuilt, or was rebuilt as cheaply as possible, this office is opulent. It is heavy, dark oak paneling, pretty tasteful modern wallpaper. There is a large, heavy oak desk, elegantly carved in the middle of it. There is the very latest iMac on a stand. Were there iMacs yet? I can't remember.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's our own history. We can do what we want.
But curiously, in one of the back corners, there is some metal benches, some alchemical retorts, and other scientific equipment. The room smells of cigar smoke and that kind of that expensive smell you get from, a big, thick, padded carpet from expensive furnishings. Peter is a wealthy man, and this is really the only place in the building that shows that.
So that's where all the money went.
Yeah.
I love it. Peter, as this woman is purple-haired, the dye has stained her hoodie, part of her blue jeans, which are slightly torn. She kind of has almost a punkish kind of look to it. She is wearing a choker. There's a little kind of like diamond. It's a little purple diamond, probably fake, but hanging from the little choker that she's wearing. She looks like she's just come from like a nightclub, probably, I don't know, in a mosh pit or something. That's what it looks like. But despite the smell, this kind of overpowering cigar smell, the only thing you smell as she enters the room is her. There is an intoxicating, almost overpowering aroma. Your fangs, without even realizing it, you feel them start to kind of press out, and then you have to sort of just really fight it not to have them appear. There is something unique about this woman, but you're not quite sure what it is in this moment. But Adam, you're able to allow her in. And my question to you, Peter, is your Alina, your child, as it were, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your one you have sired. Is she in the room right now? Would she come in later? How does it usually work for you in this situation?
So the scientific equipment, the alchemical equipment, takes a while to set up. So yeah, she would be in there. This kind of tall, blonde woman with kind of a bob, covered in tattoos, would be kind of quietly working in the background.
I like that. Yep. So this blonde woman, like you said, covered in the tattoos, is working in the background, and she's smoking. She's got a cigarette lit. Like a not actually a cigarette. Let's call it one of them. Those like cigar cigarettes, a schmagar. I don't know.
Like those
Cigarillos.
Cigarellos. It's a cigarello.
Cigarellos.
Yeah, it's a
The worst
cigarello
of
she's
both
smoking
worlds.
right now. And you can't even smell it. All you smell is this girl. And she steps in, and she looks a little less soggy, but still very wet. And the flooring where she is standing is still quickly becoming moist and a little damp. And she looks around, and she speaks. I just stand here? Do I sit? I don't know how this works.
There is in the corner there is a hat stand, shaped like a person, kind of with their hand kind of clawed above them. I'm gonna gesture to that. I'm gonna gesture to. There's two chairs either side of this big desk. One is almost like a throne, and the other looks a lot more like just a regular desk chair. And he's gonna gesture to that one.
He goes and hangs up her stuff. Like, she takes off her wet hoodie, like, quickly hangs it up. And then she walks over and sits down. She's wearing a red, sort of just like thin spaghetti strapped kind of shirt. A little bit low cut, but not too revealing. She has a couple of bruises on her arm that you notice that is bare. She has a bruise around her left wrist, as though, and it kind of looks like a handprint, as though maybe someone or something had grabbed it. And you can see just a little bit of cut marks there that, before your eyes, seem to be slowly healing, but not quickly healing in this moment. But she sits down and quietly waits.
I will take a breath, kind of regain my composure. I'll take the big throne chair, put my hands in front of me. So, you've got a story. Looks like you've been attacked at some point. Clearly you're stressed, but you heard about me.
I know some people that live here. They said you accept payments in unique ways. And I'm sorry I'm new to all of this. I don't I don't exactly know what I'm supposed to say and not say. The one who made me didn't teach me anything.
He's gonna put out one of his hands, and he's got these like big, meaty, scarred hands. He's gonna put one out, kind of, if she wants to take it. He goes, "Don't worry, you're not the first. Won't be the last."
Like a handshake or like a pat?
As in, like just kind of holding it out as if, compassionately.
I like that. Yeah, she doesn't reach towards it, but she does finally. She's been looking down. She finally looks up to you. So how does this all work?
So he's gonna kind of look back at the blonde woman. He goes, "All right, you tell me your story. First night's free. You want to stay longer? Then we'll talk about payment."
Well,
From the beginning.
I've so far from the beginning. I was born here. I've lived here my whole life. I'm 20. I was. And she motions to her neck, and you do see that there are two scars. You can see pretty clearly the two little bite marks, and she begins to tell you just a very brief, pretty concise story that she grew up, went to school, her parents were middle class, she kind of rebelled. It's not very detailed, but about 2 months ago, she met a guy at a club, hit it off with him, and then he bit her. Then he did something to her and she woke up and she was this. She doesn't exactly know what this is. She has had moments where she has blacked out and then woken up over someone that is just bloody mess. And she is scared and nervous, but says that she was directed to come here because you could help. And when she says the word help, right after that, your child. All set? Ready to go when you are.
All right. Give her a test.
I'd like you, Peter, take a moment to describe how this test goes, if you would be so kind.
Sure. It's very clinical. He's got a very high quality kind of phlebotomist set up to draw. I don't actually know how much blood one draws in a donation,
I
but
genuinely have no idea.
that amount,
Yeah.
to draw kind of a donation worth of blood, which this blonde woman Alina does very expertly. Takes only a few minutes, and then Alina will head back to her station with the blood, and you see some combination of like distillations and Bunsen burners, but also things kind of change color, things kind of flow the wrong way occasionally. There's clearly something supernatural going on here, but the woman is kind of busying around the apparatus, and it's hard to see exactly what she's doing and what's going on. As this is happening, because this is going to be a little bit of a long process, Peter is asking a few more questions. He's quite a compassionate man. He doesn't look it, and he doesn't really portray it to his tenants, but to people like this, he's reasonably compassionate. He will kind of be asking a few more questions, teasing out a few more details, especially about the last 2 months of her life.
I'd like you to make a roll for this. I'd like to make a roll for this because it's a role-playing game. We should roll some dice, right? We should roll some dice. Do you have... I would take persuasion or even etiquette in this situation. Either one.
What, charisma persuasion?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do that.
And I'm going to have you roll with 2 blood dice because you're feeling a little hungry. And there's something about this girl that is making you even more hungry.
Okay. Persuasion.
And you're going to need 2 successes. Very nice.
Yeah,
3 of 2.
successes.
No 10s. I do see a 1, though. 1 there, but you succeeded, so we're good. We're good, right? Yes? I'm reading that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, you press in. She says that the thing that, as she's explaining to you, you know, she's been hungry, she thinks she knows what she is, but she never says the word vampire. Like, she's sort of still in that disbelief phase. Maybe all of you went through it at one point. Maybe Theo was like, wait, I'm a vampire now? This is fucking awesome. Yes, please. I love this. Right? But she never says the word. She hints at it. She toys around. She dances around it. She never says it. But she mentions that she sort of just kept to the nightlife, but that she started to see these... She describes them as cloaked figures. The edge of corners, edge of streets. And she started to feel like she was constantly being watched, constantly being tracked. And it was 2 days ago that she was attacked by something. Doesn't know what it was. She was walking near the downtown. She walked by one of those grates that has the steam vents coming up. As she walked by, a hand reached out from the steam, grabbed onto her wrist. She wrenched it away. She felt it claw at her. Then she just ran, and she feels like she's been running for the past 2 nights. She ran into some friends, people she knew. They mentioned there's a place that might be able to help you. There's a man. She specifically says the word man might be able to help you. That's how she ended up here.
Your story's not unlike some of the others we've had here. Not heard anything about hooded or masked figures before, but wouldn't put past some people here.
Question for the entire group. Where are you keeping the fragment of the tablet? Where is it stored in the building? Or is it on a person?
Peter hates it. He wants nothing to do with it.
Hmm.
He's got it here, and he's going to help out with it because of obligation. He doesn't want to have to look at it.
I would have definitely petitioned to keep a hold of it if no one else
I would
object.
also have probably between Harry and Adam just switch it around between the two.
Oh, I didn't want it like literally on my person. I spent like in my room with all my
Yeah.
other occult books.
Alright.
My tiny library I've built.
High, it's going to be with Theodore. Low, it's going to be with Adam. Why didn't that roll? Because that was not in the game chat. That was in Discord. That was in the Twitch chat. I'm a goober.
I thought you had a
Goober.
literal dice
5.
in your hand.
Yeah.
So high it
Oh.
was Theo. Low it was Adam. Is that what I said? I got
Low was
distracted.
Adam.
so.
Low
Low
was
was
me.
Adam.
Yeah.
Adam, where would you be keeping it right now?
In the suitcase next to his phone.
I was thinking about the suitcase, but actually, yeah, I think it
Suitcase?
would have been the suitcase. To be fair, it
like
is.
that. Adam, this plays very well with what happened earlier. Adam, you hear your suitcase fall from the desk that it was on to the floor. And you know it's your suitcase because you've heard it fall before. Like, that's your suitcase. That's a very important suitcase. You know the sound, you know the feel of every inch of it. You know that suitcase, and it hits the floor. And it wasn't supposed to hit the floor because you very specifically put it in the center of that table, but it hits the floor. Somebody knocked it over, or something knocked it over. What could it be? I don't know. What do you do?
Well, I just pick it up again. This time, just take it
So
with
you
my
move down the
hand.
hall, walk
Yeah,
over.
where am I technically?
You
Because
were
after...
standing. You were in the same room. You were there because you dropped her
Yes,
off, but
I
you were
was
still
there,
there. I
yeah.
assumed you had stayed.
Yes, I
Peter
would
didn't
have
say to leave
stayed
or anything.
there.
You would have stayed. So you hear it from just down the hall, maybe 3 or 4 doors down. Do you leave and go and check out what's going on?
Wait, because I had the briefcase in my hand.
You
I
did.
didn't have it
You
left.
did. Okay,
But
you brought it with you.
yeah, I always.
Okay.
This is a thing that
Totally
I want
fine.
to make clear.
Totally fine.
I always bring the briefcase.
I
with
love
me.
that. That actually plays even better. So you don't hear it fall. We're going to retcon. We're going to go back. You don't hear it fall, but you hear it, you can feel it shake. And you hear this slight kind of rattling from inside the briefcase. It could be your phone ringing. It could be something else. We don't know. But the briefcase is like vibrating in your hand.
We boring
I don't.
you, Adam?
Say again, Peter?
We boring you, Adam?
No, Mr. Peter, it's all right. Probably just object acting again. Whatever, just continue your conversation. It was quite interesting, to say the least.
Peter, as you call out to Adam, you notice from the seam on the bottom of his briefcase, you see something drip. Then something else drip.
I'm assuming I'm also
3
seeing it.
drips from the edge of the suitcase where the seam is.
I'm damn. It's bleeding again.
Yeah. Oh, do you know how much this carpet's worth?
Probably more than what you spent on the lift.
Go on, out.
Very well then. But before I leave, I give some.
That was good. That was good, dude. That was a good one. That was
Yeah,
good.
But before I leave, I give Chloe something because Adam, before like being in these months, he had done some sort of like a guide how to live in long-live apartments and gives like a copy to her.
Oh, a little pamphlet.
Little
Like,
pamphlet.
so you've decided to live at Long Live Apartments. Here's the next step.
Don't use the lift, it's broken.
Don't use the lift. It's broken.
It might not look broken, but it is.
But it is. Yeah.
Don't trust it.
It might work,
Yes.
but it doesn't. I love that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, he
I like
gives
that
her
we've
the
now.
copy.
I like that we've now established that the tablet routinely bleeds.
That's beautiful.
Like,
Like, this is normal.
so much so that half of the party just doesn't care.
No, he's bleeding again. Who cares?
I'm gonna have
Stupid
to
fucking
wash
tablet.
the clothes in it again.
Oh,
But,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
I give the pamphlet and take care as I take my leave.
He says thank you. And it's genuine. It's a genuine thank you. We're going to pivot, though. Theo, what are you doing right now? You had left to go and meet with...
Oh, I'd gone to go get a macchiato and an espresso.
I like that.
Ooh.
Sorry, an espresso.
Yeah. Espresso.
I'll have got them by now. I imagine I'm either on my way back.
No, you're
or...
down. You're going downstairs. That's where you're at. 'Cause this is all happening simultaneously. So you headed downstairs. You passed the woman and Adam on the way. Didn't say a word to them. They didn't say a word to you. They just passed. And you headed downstairs, where you walk out the door and almost walk directly into Bertie. As you almost collide with him, you see him. Bertie, your eyes are fixated on the white cat, who, imagine Long Life Apartments is like a big cross, all right? But it's like a plus sign, but the north and south plus signs are shorter, and then the east and west is the long one. So it's a long rectangular building, right? So you're heading down the hallway that's heading towards the east, and you can see the cat all the way down at the end of the hallway, standing in front of the door, just staring at you. And you know for a fact that is Mrs. Tibbs' room is at the end of that hallway, and it's just standing in front of her door and at the end of the door. Its little white poofy tail just flicking back and forth, just watching you. And Theo and Bertie, you've almost collided with one another. What do you do?
Oh, sorry. Are we still inside?
Yes, you're still inside.
Kush.
We do that awkward thing where we each move the same direction.
Good morning. Heaven's sakes, man. So I have to hold you still and like, do a little circle. Good morning, Bertie.
Good morning. He's still
You have-
staring at the cat. Hasn't looked at Theo yet.
Are you having problems with the animals again?
He will turn and look at Theo. They're never problems. And then write down in his notebook something.
Okay. Well, I'm just off to go get Peter and myself a nice morning beverage. Is there anything I can get for yourself?
No, thank you.
A delight as ever, Bertie. And I'll turn to walk past the office, pick up my umbrella before I head out.
Very good. As you get to the door, Theo, at the door. Name of our newest cat, by the way, Theodore, so I love your name. But I digress. But as you get to the door, that is heading south. It's towards the park. I'm going to have you make a quick check. Or I'm going to have you make a quick little check here, because we got to roll some dice. It's a role-playing game, right? I want you to go ahead and roll a... What was it? Awareness check, if you would. An awareness check.
How do I do that?
So open up your character sheet. Good teaching
So do I
moment.
click on
Awareness,
awareness,
yeah.
and then some other dice?
Yep, and then you're going to be picking... For this one, what is awareness usually based off of? Intelligence? No, wits? Wits,
Oh.
right?
Kind of, yeah.
Wits I feel is like wisdom for D&D, so that one makes sense.
Yeah, it makes
if I'm
sense,
trying
right?
to
Do
spot
wits.
something.
Let's do wits, yeah.
So I'll click the awareness dice, then the wits dice.
Yeah.
If you
So you
click on
click
it should bring
awareness,
you
and
up
then it gives you a
pop-up.
drop down, and then you click wits, and then
Oh.
you click submit. I'm going to have you roll with 2 blood dice, please. Because you're also feeling surprisingly hungry.
Nothing happens when I click on awareness.
No. You go down to awareness. You click on awareness.
Yep, it's highlighting in a little red rectangle, and then when I click it, nothing happens.
Well, let me open up your
Oh.
character sheet and see what's up. Awareness. Oh, it pops up a little thing for me. I'll roll it for you. I got you, baby bird. So our
Baby
pool
bird.
side. Nothing.
Make sure he's got his hunger set to 2 if you want 2 dice.
Oh! It wasn't popping up in the character sheet. I've got my character sheet separated because I find it's irritating. Just too small.
That's fair.
It's like,
That's
right,
fair. That's fair.
Kush. I know what I'm doing
All
going
right.
forwards.
Well, the good news is you got 4 successes based on what I roll. I don't know if your hunger was right, but still 4 successes. We're just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna, fuck it. We'll do it live. All right, there I swore. See, Jamie, you can swear all you want. Fuck it, we'll do it
Yeah.
live.
For my life.
However,
To play us out?
as you get to the door, you look out into. You've got your umbrella. You're ready to go outside. You've got your little top hat. You look completely out of. Actually, you're not that weird for Chicago. Chicago's a weird city. You look pretty normal actually for 2006. But you get to the door and you look out, and there's no question. You see 3 figures, cloaked, standing. So imagine there is a long sidewalk, about 50, 60 feet. Then it hits that circle of the park that is just to the south of Long-Lived Apartments. And standing directly where the sidewalk meets the larger circle, you see 3 cloaked figures just like loomingly staring at your door.
We best have their hoods up.
Oh, this is quite the development. Can I tell from this sort of distance what they are? Or like, are they just guys?
Great question. You did get 4 successes out of the 2 that I required. Here's what I'll tell you. Each of them appears to be slightly hunched. Think like an Igor style. Kind of look like they might have like a literally a giant hunch on their back. And they're all just kind of wavering side to side ever so slightly. Have you ever seen the M. Night Shyamalan movie with the red monsters? You know what I'm talking about? You ever seen that one?
Yes.
It kind
the
of
one
look like
that's
that,
set in the
but
past,
black
but it's
silhouettes.
not.
Yeah.
Oh god. I watched Old last night and it was horrible. I thought you were going to mention the woman with calcium deficiency. Ugh.
No.
Never mind. Well, Theodore knows a ghoul when he sees one. He was a bit taken aback at first, but now he knows these are just, wow, these are just the help. He's nothing to fear from the help. So put up my umbrella, pop it over my shoulder, and are they in between me and the nearest coffee shop, or is the coffee shop in a different
No,
direction?
the coffee shop's in a different direction.
In that case, I'll just shout across the park to them.
Mhm.
Good evening, boys. Fine day for it. And then walk off in the other direction, getting out my Nokia, flip it open, and I was gonna
Flip
say,
open your Nokia.
yeah,
Brilliant.
probably closest to Bertie because we've worked together in the past, but I know there's literally no point in telling that man this information. So instead, he'll give Adam a ring, just let him know that there's three creepy ghouls hanging around outside.
Interesting. So, as you step outside, Theo, you start to walk, you flip open your phone. There is an unnatural chill in the air. You are often cold since you're dead, but it's unnaturally cold. And as you step forward, I'm just going to say vampires breathe just so they seem kind of normal, right? But as you let out a breath, you actually see your breath frost slightly. Now, with that being said, it's October. The weather's been chilly, but it hasn't been to the point where your breath would frost. And as you are 6 feet from the door, your umbrella's up, that downpour of rain, you can hear that pitter-patter, that kind of falling on the umbrella, right? You can see the water pooling and sort of water falling off of the umbrella. The tone changes. The tone goes from being that sort of dull thuds to these slushy kind of pops. And you watch as the rain starts to turn to sleet before your very eyes. Ground starts to become crunchy. Those three ghouls, you can hear kind of chanting. What languages does Theodore speak?
Oh gosh, genuinely hadn't considered it.
Okay.
He can probably read most, with a bent towards the archaic languages. If it's something more modern, he's almost, unless it's English or French, he's almost certainly not got a clue what they're talking about if it's a modern language.
It is not a modern language. It's an old, old, old language.
That's more in his wheelhouse.
That's why I think it's interesting. Stepped outside because I'm gonna have you roll for this as well. I want to see if you can recognize Theodore what this language is. And what I'm gonna have you roll for this is I'm gonna have you roll an occult and intelligence. So occult with intelligence, please. 2 hunger dice. Make sure you have the hunger dice set to 2.
Oh.
Okay.
Hang on.
And your difficulty on this is a 3.
Cancel that. Sorry, where's my hunger?
Hunger is underneath all of the skills. And there's little checkboxes you can check to activate or deactivate them.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Gosh. So I had everything locked. So it was
You're good.
occult and intelligence.
Intelligence,
did you
yes,
say?
sir. Yep.
Oh, this is
This is your wheelhouse. I got you, baby bird.
wheelhouse.
I got you, baby bird. I know what you're about. I got you.
Difficulty, did you say 3?
Difficulty 3, yes, sir. That's 7 successes. No, 3. Rolled 7 dice. 3. Did we get any Hunger dice at a 10. Nope. Looks like we are good. So you recognize this language. You recognize this language. They are speaking Sanskrit. Sanskrit they are speaking. And while you don't speak it directly, you can recognize some words. And as you're staring at them, the umbrella, it's sleety, you start to see this somewhat... Imagine like heat rising off of asphalt. There's that kind of wavering as the air is heated, so it's kind of like making it look wibbly wobbly, as it were. The air around them, the rain, is starting to look blurry. The sleet is starting to look blurry. What would Theodore do in this moment?
He would. So he's noticing that everything's starting to blur. It's getting incredibly cold. He recognizes not just your modern day Sanskrit, an archaic version of Sanskrit, and he just chucks his umbrella, turns on his heel, shouts, "Bugger this for a game of soldiers," and runs back inside.
You should say bugger this for a game of soldiers.
He did,
What?
yeah.
That was the most
I-
randomest thing I've ever heard. I don't know what it means, but I loved it. You crazy British fuck. I love that. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
That is a genuine old-timey British exclamation
I
for you right
love
there.
it. So you head back
I use
inside.
it 3 times a day.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You
Well,
head inside.
he'll head back. He'll head back into the doorway.
Yeah.
He wants to feel a bit more safe and secure than he is.
Yeah.
He didn't know ghouls could do. Oh, he could. Ooh, they won't be doing blood magic, will he? He'll know this. It can't be blood magic if they're not vampires. This could be actual, real-world magic. In which case, he could be properly buggered. So yeah, he's definitely getting in the doorway.
You get in the doorway. Do you close the door? You keep the door open?
I'll hurl some more abuse at them.
Okay.
Now you stop that right now! God damn it!
The
I wish you'd have kept your umbrella so you could have shaken your umbrella up.
the sleet
Oh,
turns into
Get off
hail.
my lawn!
And you
It's
can
getting colder and
see the
colder.
little, say, like pebble size, maybe an inch size, which is pretty big, hail starts to hit the lawn, starts to hit the sidewalk, and you can hear it kind of like titter-pattering on the roof. And in fact, Peter from inside, Adam from inside, you've heard the rain, but now you're starting to hear this kind of heavier hits on the roof of the apartment complex. Even Bertie inside, you're hearing it. But what do you shout at them? You said you shouted, "Stop! Stop that right now!"
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah.
How was it? Pack that in.
They don't seem to stop.
Stop that right
They
now.
seem to keep doing what they're doing and do it more. So it didn't work.
Rude.
How far
Proper
away
gets,
are they?
let me tell you.
God.
About how far are they from here?
About 60 feet from you.
60 feet.
No.
I'm not entirely sure of what a vampire's capable of. Could I just hoist something at one of them? Sorry, could I throw something at one of them from where I'm standing?
Yeah.
With a reasonable chance of success.
Absolutely. You want to be like, I
Excellent.
grab the trash can out to the side and hurl it across the lawn at them. Totally.
I'll just dip into the office, grab. What does he see? He gets a stapler, he gets a hole punch, and he just launches the what I presume is a ghoul. I'm gonna go for whoever's in the middle.
You launch a stapler. It's a big red stapler. Like, I have my stapler. It's like a big red stapler, right? Like from Office Space. You hurl that thing, dead accuracy, directly towards the center one. As it strikes them, the hail and the rain and the sleet, everything stops, and it is a calm, clear night, and they are gone. Just gone. That uneasy feeling that you felt, Theodore, it remains, but then quickly dissipates. The rain is gone, the storm is over, the sleet is gone, and all you hear is the sound of a train off to your right-hand side heading into the city. You can hear that chugga chugga, that kind of thud 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 kind of noise of the train just moving along the tracks, and that is all you hear. In an instant, the ground still damp. So it definitely was raining, but it just stops all at once.
And don't come back! You'll shout at the door,
Brilliant.
and then doesn't really feel like getting a coffee anymore. He's a
Oh,
little bit unnerved.
come on.
It's gonna.
All
he's
the
gonna
cool
go-
vampires are getting coffee after weird,
Yeah.
creepy things happening outside, right? Come on. That's
He's
fine.
gonna close the door, head into the office, and just pour out. I presume we've got like a coffee machine for the.
You've got
for
like
the
that
humans.
really bad bagged Insta coffee that you like
Yeah.
pour hot water into. It
Just-
smells
Just
terrible.
pour a cup of that and like.
Steve, you heard some shouting, but not really, because you're super hyper focused, Bertie, on this cat. You do.
He'll slowly walk down the corridor towards the cat.
Excellent.
What is the cat's name? I'm assuming I probably know the cat's name.
Do you? Do you know the cat's name?
Okay.
There you
It's a
go.
white cat. You hate white cats.
Yeah, but I know that there's a white cat that lives in this building.
Mitzi. Its name is Mitzi.
He's slowly going to walk towards and say, "Why didn't you take my pen, Mitzi?"
And as you say, why did you take my pen? The door to Mrs. Tibbs' apartment opens. She steps out into the hallway. Now, Mrs. Tibbs, let me tell you, she is a old, somewhat cranky woman. She has a pair of like reading glasses with a little extension thing that she has. She looks to be a woman who should be like straight out of like Victoria, England. Like she always dresses very fancy, even though she's just hanging out in her apartment by herself with her white cat, Mrs. Mitzi. And she brings her glasses up, looks at you, and says, Are you bothering Mitzi again, Bertie? You know she doesn't like you."
He's going to continue looking at Mitzi and go, "She took my pen again."
Lies and falsehoods. Come now, Mitzi. This special gentleman doesn't deserve our time. Mitzi looks up at you, does that thing of like one cat wink, and then just like prances into the room. She just slams the door shut in your face.
He'll put his notebook in his pocket and after jotting a couple of things down, put it back in his pocket. And, well, that wasn't very nice at all.
Your phone, Peter, the landline from like your tenants that can call you in your office starts to ring in the middle of your conversation with Chloe.
He kind of like half-heartedly looks to the back room and goes, "1 sec." What?
Hello, Peter. This is Mrs. Tibbs. That weird special boy that you hired. He's been creeping around at night again. I tell you, you need to hire better service, better men. It's despicable. And the elevator's acting up again.
Anything else?
My air conditioning's not working.
Got it.
Click. The phone rings again 2 times. I'm assuming you ignore it, and then it stops ringing. That's brilliant. Brilliant. All right. That's so good. That's so good. All right. So Peter, you're up there. So your child, Alina, she is getting close to being done with her experiment. And usually she'll, kind of talk you through what's going on. And she's been very quiet, more mumbling to herself than actually talking to you, but it's a very quiet mumble. And you know her well. I mean, you made her. She's confused, maybe a little disconcerted. And as she finishes, she turns to you and she very, very quietly whispers, "Something's not right, with the equipment. I think I need more blood. I need to try again. Something didn't work.
All right, girl.
And she moves
Careful,
over.
she's not got a lot of blood in her.
She moves to go over. Goes to draw more blood from Chloe, and Chloe like pulls back from her. What are you doing? She goes to explain that she just needs to take more blood. Chloe starts to get a little hostile. Like, no, I've already given you blood. Like, I can't give you more blood, all right? I don't want to give more blood. And they start to argue a little bit. You do, Peter.
Does he go straight to ordering? Yeah, yeah. He's just gonna kind of go, Chloe, look at me. And then
Yes.
as soon as she does, you see just something flash across his eyes. And he goes, calm down. And I'm gonna
Instantaneously
confront.
calm. Just presents her arm. Alina goes to start drawing blood. And when she first did, it was this sort of red, kind of dark crimson color. But she starts to draw it, she gets a little bit of red, and then it turns black. Color of tar. And she continues to draw, but then she stops and she looks over to you. Chloe is still almost in this trance, just calmly, arm extended, needle in, the blood is coming out. She looks over to you, then looks down at the black blood, then back to you, and her expression says, "What the fuck?"
Something's not right here. Figure it out, girl. I'll see if I can get our friend here somewhere to stay.
No problem, Pops. And she continues to draw blood. Chloe calmly sits there and starts to kind of regain her senses, but isn't angry, and is just kind of staring blankly forward. Where do you go, Peter? What do you do?
I will. I've done this sort of thing enough to know. So I'm just going to say the tail end of a conversation, and then stand up, kind of motioning her to stand up, as if we've just been having a conversation that
Yep.
she's blanked out on.
So does that mean I get a room then? How often do I have to? She like motions to her arm. Pay.
Elena will tell you about later, but just like any other place, weekly.
Okay.
We'll get you sorted as to your new life, new digs, new way of getting your groceries. We'll sort it out for you. And I'll reach into my desk and I've got just a whole bunch of keys, because the door is keyless entry, but that's mostly because it stops things that don't need keys. But the rooms all have keys. So I'll hand her. There's only a couple left in the drawer, but I'll hand her one of the few that we've got remaining, and I will show her to an empty room.
Perfect. Over to her empty room. She very quickly, opens the door, steps in, turns, and she looks at you, Peter. And once again, there is this moment of you feel like you know her, like you feel like you've seen her before, but you haven't. It just feels very familiar. And when she says, "Thank you, Mr. Peter," there is a warmth in your chest that you haven't felt in, well, maybe over 100 years. For just a moment. And she closes the door gently, locks it. You're left standing in the hallway. What floor did you get her a room on?
All of my particular tenants share the 14th floor with the vampires.
Perfect. Right. Adam, you had the
Fuck.
the shard, the fragment was bleeding again. What did you do with
Yep.
it?
Well,
I
as
like I like that we established it does that from time to time, which I
yeah,
think is hilarious.
it's
That's so
useful.
good. That's
It
bleeding
already
again.
did it like
Fuck.
5 times this month. It's alright. As to just as a precaution, I do go back to my room.
Mhm.
As I tense up just in case. I try to open the briefcase.
Okay.
I know that it may be nothing, but it could also be something. You never know about these
Yeah.
stuff.
You open the briefcase. The fragment, this fragment of supposedly Lilith's tablet, it's there. It's dried blood on it. There's no blood inside of your briefcase. Seems dry and in shape. Tip top. Your clothing's not all bloody, etc. It's all
Thank
normal.
God.
But
Okay.
your phone messages, now there's 4 missed text messages on your flip phone Nokia.
Yeah, I do check them if the suitcase in general is alright.
You have the same 2 messages that you had before,
Yeah.
but you also have a message. You also have a message from. It's actually a voicemail. It's a voicemail from Gustav.
Yeah.
Gustav. It is a voicemail from Gustav.
Before I check the voicemail, what is the other one?
The other message is another message from the unknown number, the blocked number, and it simply
Yeah.
says, "We found you."
I have a feeling who it is. It just brings for a moment a flash to the scene of his last art piece. And then he refocuses and listens to Gustav's voice message.
Gustav's message is brief and concise. His message says that he is going to be in town in about a week. I would like to see you again. That's all. Just a quick message. I'll be in town in a week. I'd like to see.
I write. I don't do a voicemail. I write. Sure, I would like another smoke with you, and send.
Very good.
After that, because I did notice the stuff going on outside, I sort of go out and try to figure out what was that about, because it was a different thing from the suitcase, I assume.
So you heard the rain.
Especially,
You heard the rain suddenly stop. We're gonna leave you there for a moment, Adam. We're gonna leave you there
Yes.
for a moment. You still do have the message from the woman. Who says, "Did you
Andrea,
forget
yeah.
about me?" Do you respond to her?
I don't.
3, 2, 1, too late. We're gonna let you stew on it. We're gonna
Yeah,
go over
I
to. It's
was.
okay.
No,
Okay, we're
it's
gonna let you
alright,
stew on it. We're gonna let you stew. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's interesting. I think he's paralyzed with indecision. Not dissimilar to Bertie. Bertie, the rude woman with her annoying white cat, slammed the door in your face. Theo, you've headed back towards the center of the building. Are you still looking out into the night? What are you doing, Theodore? I think you and Bertie are gonna run into each other again.
How long's it been?
Oh, like a minute. Everything
A
happened.
minute. Well,
Yeah.
it's plenty time to calm myself down. Sort of readjust my suit, make sure I'm all nice and tidy.
Mm-hmm.
Was it my good umbrella?
Was.
It'll have been my good umbrella.
Yeah.
Right, I'll open the door again, have a little look around, go get my umbrella.
Yeah.
Close it up.
Hey, high or low? Just tell me high or low.
Hi.
No.
Yeah, your umbrella's still there.
Fantastic. Not that crime-ridden a part of Chicago then.
You drop an
sticks.
umbrella, a second later, it's just gone.
I'll stick that back in the office then.
Mhm.
And then I'll start heading up the stairs.
As you head
Feels like
back
this is the
to
sort
the
of
little
thing I should tell
cross, the
people.
centered kind of area, you run into Bertie again, almost, and do that awkward thing again, where you're going back and forth. Because Bertie, I assume you turned and started to head back, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, but Bertie wouldn't. I'm going to retcon that one. Bertie would be deliberately going to talk to Theo.
Oh, I love that. So he's deliberately going to talk to you. Perfect.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And as he sees him come back in through the door, he'll just say, "The cat stole my pen again."
This has happened before.
Yeah, she's always stealing my things.
But cats don't even have opposable thumbs.
He'll pull out the notebook and like flip back a load of pages.
I've seen this before. As soon as he takes out his notebook, he goes like, "Oh God!"
He'll
burns
point
again.
out like 3 or 4 different times that his pen has gone missing. And
Yes, I see.
3 or 4 different times that he's sure that it's Mitzi.
Okay. Well, no. Feline pen thievery is obviously quite a problem, but we were just under magical attack.
Yes,
I
it's
find this somewhat
raining.
more concerning. No.
That lady was
it
wet
was,
as well.
yes, the woman was very wet. But the rain, the sleet, the ice, that incredible downpour, I believe there were some ne'er-do-wells outside, casting upon us some sort of ancient Sanskrit ritual sorcery to make it snow. Now I think about it, not the most dangerous of magics, but God gave me the willies. That's also a real English phrase.
Bertie will lean past him and kind of peer out of the door. Is it still raining outside?
No. Nice, it's like a little overcast, but not too bad. But there's some moonlight, a couple stars. It's hard to see with the light pollution, but maybe like 1 or 2 bright stars. This guy.
He'll flip back through to like the latest page in his notebook and just write down, "It's stopped raining now."
Yes, I know it stopped raining now. It's because I caught one of the buggers in the face with a stapler.
The red one.
Yes, the good one, the better of the 2 staplers. It's larger, it's heavier, it made for a better weapon.
Well, it probably would. That sort of distance, approximately 18 meters. Sort of approximate throwing speed. He'll like touch the top of his arm. Could probably do some damage.
I mean, it's a swingline stapler, 747 desktop stapler. Those things are big. All right, it's a nice stapler.
We can check to see if it's still there if you're particularly fond of the stapler.
He'll flick back through his notebook and go, "No."
You had to check your notes to see whether you liked the stapler or not, Bertie.
He'll like show him the notebook. Everything's in the notebook.
Well, I hold my hands up. You've certainly got a system. I feel like we should let the other boys know.
About the stapler?
Well, yes.
Yes. Peter will want to get a new one.
In the sense, I'm not too sure he'll be particularly bothered about replacing the stationery. Silly bugger doesn't even want to replace the lift. But it's more the magics being cast on his building that I imagine he'll be upset about.
Bertie will head towards the lift. So, well, we should probably go and see him then.
Would you not rather take the stairs?
Adam came down in the lift.
Well, can't argue with that logic. I'll get in the lift with you.
Bertie, you press the button, or do you allow Theo to press the button?
He'll wait until Theodore's in the lift and then deliberately press the button. Like, not just tap it, but like press the button.
Yep. So Theo walks up, you press the button, lift opens, you step in, you deliberately press the button, goes up, smooth as butter. No issues. No issues whatsoever. Telling you, Birdie, man. Birdie, that's good. Birdie,
Seems like Adam must have finally convinced him to get the bloody thing fixed.
you are going up. Your phone chimes once more. The text message. Ba-ding! You finally check or you ignore it.
Yeah, I'll look at the messages.
Okay. You have 2 missed calls, 1 voicemail. You have 3 text messages. 3 text messages, all from the same person. All from the same person. The text messages, Stephen, Bertie, are from Megan. She says, "Are you still coming? I could really use your help tonight." The last message, which was about 3 minutes ago, or just now, says, "Never mind, forget about it."
He'll turn to Theodore and say, "That nice cat lady wants me to go and visit," and then we'll go and dial the voicemail, not waiting for a response.
The voicemail is her earlier in the evening saying, "Hey, I was expecting you here at the cat shelter tonight. I could use your help moving some things around. The cats are asking about you," in kind of a playful voice. And that's all it says.
He'll hang up and say, "The cats have been asking about me again."
Of course they have. He's quite used to Bertie's eccentricities at this point of being living with him with 2 months.
Yeah.
Just sort of takes it on the chin.
So at this point, we're gonna just kind of montage you all to where I'm assuming you have like a. Do you all meet in your office? Would you all meet probably in the office? So you're all now in the office.
I can't
Adam, you've
imagine
had
Peter
time
going
to.
to somebody else's office.
He just goes to some
He's
other
in his
office.
chair, and he's only got one chair in front of the
Yeah,
desk. They're all
I
standing.
was gonna say we've already established there's only 2 chairs in the room.
Yeah, there's only 2 chairs. in
Lots
the
of
room.
standing at this point. Lots of standing. You
Yeah.
love to see it. Beautiful.
Jesus.
Beautiful gentlemen. So take it away, please.
Right.
I'm afraid I couldn't get you the espresso, Peter.
That's all right. I've got some mysteries brewing. That should keep me going.
Fair enough, fair enough. Ran into a spot of bother on the way out there. 3 hideous bent-over ghoul-type fellows casting ancient magics on the building.
Do they
Bloody
now?
ridiculous.
Do they now? Did it now?
Interesting. Well, you're the mage. Well, if you got some occult knowledge that the rest of us haven't been blessed with. What are they doing?
As far as I could tell, just making it really bloody cold. I found the perfect counterspell, though. Big red stapler to the face.
My stapler.
It was the
Afraid
good
so,
one.
old bean. Yes, it was the good one as well.
He kind of looks down and he like makes a note on what is clearly like an inventory for the building. All right. Did you get it back?
No, not yet. Haven't headed back out again. Thought it'd be
Alright.
best to meet up with you boys. Let you know we're potentially under attack, as it were.
It finally happened, eh? It took a while. Well,
Explain further, Adam. What are you talking about?
let's just say that some former colleagues may have found where I am. And we might be a bit this well, I have not come to a conclusion yet, but I got a message said I found you, and that's it.
Specifically, Adam, the first message said, "We're going to find you."
We're going to find.
And then the
yeah.
second message said, "We found you."
Yeah, I just
like someone who
said
follows through, you know.
Yeah. Let's just say we're gonna have some interesting visitors from now on.
Well,
Your
let's not
friends-
say that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't understand.
Let's
That-
not say that. Let's deal with them.
I don't think you can. Or if you will, it's going to be one of the biggest headaches in your goddamn life.
I've been in bigger scraps than this, lad. Don't you worry.
You have not seen madness, mister. You have not seen madness.
Bertie's been sort of quietly stood next to the strange mannequin coat rack, just sort of like prodding and touching the wet jacket.
Yeah, her hoodie is still there. She
Wanna
didn't
give
take
back?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And when he mentions that you haven't seen madness like it, he'll kind of turn and look at the rest of the group, take
No,
out his
Bertie.
notebook, jot
Mm.
something down, and then continue prodding and poking at the wet coat.
So Peter is a war veteran. He was a veteran of the Chicago Wars. Has anything like does he remember anything like this kind of magical attack?
Nominal question. Yes. This kind of magical attack, seeming somewhat mundane, is often a warning or a precursor to something bigger and more deadly. It's sort of a test to see who's there, how do they react. They're probing you. That's what this feels like. It feels like a probe.
And
Well, I
Theodore
certainly showed
just-
them what I'll do with that probe.
yeah, you just threw the stapler at them, which is probably good enough for now.
I think we should probably invest in quite a few more of those staplers. Seem to have an alarmingly efficient impact on them.
We just have I do propose we invest into those emergency brake stuff, and we just have a bunch of staplers on them. They seem to be quite effective.
Just break here in case of ghoul attack.
Yes.
The red
exactly.
stapler inside. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
Listen, Sabat, respect me. I'll see if I
It's
can
not
get
Sabat.
some ears to the ground. See if they know anything.
Birdie, as they're discussing this, you're probing and prodding, and there's a little like pocket inside the zip up hoodie. So it's like a zip up hoodie. You open it, there's a little pocket, and you see just the corner third of what appears to be like maybe a business card or something on it. And you can see just part of the writing, but you can't make out what it is unless you pull it out. Would
Take
you
it out.
take it out? Perfect. It is the Underground Nightclub. That is simply the name of the nightclub. It's a card from there. And on the back of that card is the address to Long Life Apartments. And on the front of the card, it says General Manager Rodney. General Manager Rodney. Not a name you know, but it appears that he offered this card to her. You can presume that he offered this card to her and wrote the address on the back of it. Or maybe she wrote the address. We don't know. But Underground Nightclub.
I'm going to say that my room is like directly opposite where this little office is. So he's going to go across the corridor, and he has like a small. It's not a library. It's like a collection of documents and pamphlets and stuff that
Mhm.
tourists pick up when they come out of the train station,
Yeah.
and just random stuff that he's just been round and gathered. Like,
Love that.
you know, walked past a pamphlet thing and just picked up one of everything. And we'll pick up the equivalent of, I don't know, the Yellow Pages or whatever the
Sure.
American equivalent is. And we'll
It's 2006. We still have the Yellow Pages, all right? They don't exist now in 2023, but in 2006 they existed.
So he's going to rifle through and find if he can find the name that is on the business card.
You do.
Not of the nightclub, but of like his home address or whatever it is.
You don't find his address. You find a phone number though. There's
Yeah.
3 of them. All right. Rodney Calhoun. That's the name. Rodney Calhoun with a K. Cal Hoon. Rodney Calhoun. And there's 3 of them in the there's apparently 3 Rodney Calhouns in Chicago.
He'll jot those 3 names and numbers down, like deliberately writing Calhoun down 3 times, and the phone number, and we'll go back across and then just tear the page out of the notebook and put the page and the business card on the desk in front of Peter.
Boom, Peter, you're in the middle of the conversation about staplers, breakaway glass, but piece of paper slammed in front of you.
I'll then go back to looking at the code.
Well,
Oh.
but, come on. You can't put the same name 3 times, 3 different phone numbers on my desk. What is this?
Oh, it was on the business card.
Interesting. Name doesn't ring a bell. Club.
I think it's the Underground Club, he says,
Yeah.
absent-mindedly rifling through the pockets.
Yeah. Any of you guys recognize that? I'm not much of a club goer myself.
So, Adam,
Well,
Can't imagine.
the
how much.
name Underground Club, it does ring a bell. It was mentioned a couple years ago. It's a newer club, maybe 3 or 4 years old, but it was mentioned when you were with the Hakata, right? It was mentioned in passing. Just in passing, it was mentioned. You don't know there was really no context of it, but you do remember the name. You've never been there, but you do remember the name.
Do remember it. 3 or 4 years was mentioned back when I was still employed by my clan. Just in passing, no real details. They have a bad habit of not giving any details. But I
Okay.
do know about it.
All right.
Can I chuck something out? So I have like intelligence for
Not clan.
investigation 3
I was
and
gonna say
speciality and deduction.
You're good, Adam.
I want to see if I can just chuck out. Oh, I bet Chloe was at that club and
Well,
got the business card from that person.
well,
And they
funny
sent this
story.
to you.
Her hoodie has the name of that club on the front of it as well.
so
Yeah, and you didn't
So-
really notice it before because she was so soggy, and just mostly damp, kind of weird looking. And it's slightly stained from her purple hair dye that had like dribbled over it. It's like white writing, so it was stained purple. So it was black hoodie with white writing, but the white writing is now kind of stained dark purple, so it's kind of hard to see. But as you're looking at it, you see, like, oh yeah, it makes sense. So you, absentmindedly saying that would make sense.
I bet she worked there.
Interesting. Bertie, what would you need to track down these ghouls?
So he's going to stop rifling at the pockets and stuff, but still looking at the holding the badge on the front. Well, we could just ask Chloe what she knows and how she knows Rodney.
Not tonight.
If we
Not tonight. Girl needs sleep. She had a long night.
Oh yes.
That's interesting for you to say.
As you mentioned the long night, your child, Lena, has finished her second round of experiments, still ongoing as this conversation is going. Walks over. She has a small little vial of what appears to be a kind of black tarry substance. And she sets it on the table just in front of you. Peter, I have no idea what that is.
I guess
not-
that's her blood.
It's not blood, though. That's the thing, Adam. I don't know what it is. It seems like blood. It tests as though it might be blood, but it's not blood. I mean, look at it. It's not blood. It's not. It's. And she picks it up and twists it back and forth, and it moves kind of like flubber. So it's like gooey, but then she shakes it and it becomes liquid, and then she moves it slowly and it becomes gooey again. And it's pitch black, like a black on black, like just that like black that's so black that you can't even really see it. If you're in a room of it, you don't know where the walls are. Like it's a weird color, and it's both liquid and kind of solid at the same time.
Professor, what do you think about this?
Is that me?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll be a professor. I'll take that title. Well, all your fancy machines and what's-ma-do's will only get you so far. If you really want to know something about blood, and I'll just stick my finger in the blood and then taste it.
Stop it. Hold on. You're gonna pop the cork, stick your finger in there, and taste it?
Yeah. And I'm gonna use one of my Tremere abilities. What's it called? Presuming I'm not dead from eating this toxic blood. A taste for blood. I've got a taste for blood. I had to eat the blood.
You got it.
Harry.
So as he
Harry.
pops the cork, dips his finger in it, tastes it, our final scene of today's session is Theo just standing there looking at it. We've got everyone probably looking at him like, what the fuck is wrong with you? We've got Alina going, nah. Taste it. It tastes like coffee. Like really rich, freshly brewed coffee. And then you start to bleed from your eyes.
Oh, I
And
was
then you
just about to
start to
drink more.
bleed from your ears. And then he starts to roar like a maddened beast. And that, my
Oh,
friends,
God.
is where we'll end today's session. There you go.
This tastes
Wow.
fantastic.
Whoa.
Rah!
Oh shit.
My fucking carpets.
Completely ruined. Completely
Yeah.
ruined.
This
Well,
is
I
not
just
different,
want to
huh?
say to our 4 vampires, first and foremost, thank you so much for playing session 1. I hope you guys had a good time. Are you all going to be back for session 2? Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes?
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Man.
Glad to hear that. And as I always say at the end of every session, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns from the players before we get ready to wrap up today's session?
I'm concerned that Theodore has completely ruined the whole visiting cats thread of discovery.
Yeah.
It's gonna
How
be a
come?
bother to restrain.
Maybe. Who knows? But as I always say as well, thank you so much to the players for playing. Truly, without you guys, telling stories like this is impossible, so I genuinely appreciate your time and your commitment to doing this. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. We had anywhere between 9 and like 12, 13 people watching, so I appreciate you guys stopping in, blowing up the chat. That was awesome. Happy gaming, everybody. You'll see these amazing people here next week. Same game time, same game place. That's 3 p.m. Eastern for session 2 of our Vampire the Masquerade little story adventure out of the darkness. But until then, be well, be safe, and happy gaming. We'll catch you next time. Cheers.